Massive greetings in the name of the Most High. This is Daddy Reddss for Daddy Reddss Promotions, and this is Talking News. In this episode, Chronix gives his take on what happened to the young lady who got her locks trimmed. You know what to do: like, comment, subscribe, share. Talking News is here. That's right. This is a long one, but a lot of good things were said, so that's why I'm just gonna put it up. Chronix, big up yourself and fire button the down pressers. That's all I gotta say. Take it away.
Help, but to be on a true self. See me? To be on a true self. Because no matter what else you do in life, and it no matter what you accomplish for yourself and whatever, if you wave the banner of Rastafari and Rasta you, I get them locks get cut off and them things. Everybody in the world gonna know exactly what's up, So here's our opportunity. I'm quickly on the subject of Jamaica and what it means to be a Jamaican, right? And now I talk to my global community of Rastafari. Now I talk to my global community of Jamaican people. See? Now, what is Jamaica without Rastafari and Rastafari culture? Did anyone ever imagine those things? We would end up with something very close to what Alexander Bustamante's vision of Jamaica is, and what Norman Manley and all of those guys, Hugh Lawson Shearer, all of them guys would have end up with what the PMP and the JLP want for Jamaica. See, that is what we would have as Jamaica if you subtract Rastafari from it. So all Jamaican people who wear them locks proudly to their work, the people in government who wear them locks proudly, the people meditate upon the many lives of Rasta women, Rasta children, you see me, who over the years have bled and died and suffered, You talk about people have been denied access to healthcare, access to education, access to capital, access to finance, access to their own culture and their own name. Imagine what our names would be without Rastafari. All of us would name Peter, and we would have all these names, forever. Errol, Selvin, George. Them name they would have, If it wasn't for Rasta, Rasta come give back with name. We never even have a name. For years we never have no name. And His Majesty make we have that. We can baptize in our own church and worship our own Yeshua, Jesus Christus. And wear our own meskel and put on crosses and have our own meskel. How come we not appreciate that? How come we allow the government them of the world to undermine us for so long? And me I talk about we, the artists, them who we have the biggest stages in the world and the biggest voices. Listen to our lyrics. Listen to the lyrics of the young African man who living in the West. Listen to the lyrics of the young African woman who living in the West. And then we talk about all these little things and whatever. Listen to our lyrics. And then listen to the lyrics of Rastafari people. I hear them big up all these artists in the world who are great artists and great humanitarians. But let me tell you, music is one of the most powerful things that we have as African. Our voices. Because our ancestors speak through music. The Almighty speak through music. The cosmos access humanity through our voice. Not through no other anybody else. Through Rasta voice. See it? When Marcus Garvey says something, it is said, and then half century down the road, Bob Marley sing it. Bob Marley, children them a sing it. Emancipate yourself from mental slavery. See? And it's when it sing, the whole world have to meditate it because it is now in this form of melodies, sonical vibration that live on forever. And when you have a man like Bob Marley at the heights of his popular music career, and when we say popular music, you talk about more than 100,000 people at a concert in Italy, where the Pope and the Beast live. First time I sing Bundong Rome in Europe, inside Rome where I do the concert, and I say Bundong Rome. And when we the Alexandra Palace, so Bundong Rome again, I'm go Israel and Bundong dirty Israel behavior what them have. And all of them people and them little dirty Palestinian behavior and them disunity and them war. We burn that to a soul. So, to all the fellow Jamaican people who, you know, we have a culture, we have a vital food, and we have a music, we have a Bob Marley, we have a don't worry about a thing, cause every little thing. All of that is Rastafari consciousness. So this is my call for all of the youth them who benefit financially from Rastafari legacy. The Rastafari cultural wealth and cultural legacy. Please do not embarrass yourselves any further. Do not embarrass. Let us not embarrass ourselves any further. Listen to the dancehall youth them lyrics. Stop embarrassing yourself. All the man them with dreadlocks and the woman them with dreadlocks, stop embarrassing yourself before humanity and before God and before the Almighty. Stop it. Because there's an earthquake coming. You don't see it, but it's coming. And keep looking for a physical earthquake. But I'm telling you, earthquake, someone say free Palestine, free Africa. Palestine will never be free till Africa is free. Yo, internet people, don't play with me now. May I say, we have 200 more George Floyd to go until Africa unite. So, how much more march we have before the rapper them stop embarrass themselves? The singer them stop embarrassing themselves and go up on TV and pretend like they are free and like they have any prospect for freedom. Do you have any prospect for freedom? There is no prospect for freedom. There is no prospect for freedom until Africa unite as one. Until we can walk proudly in the world and show people a passport that says I am an African. See? Too long we in a subhuman bondage. Too long. And listen to what the artists them singing about. It's an embarrassment. I hope you enjoy all the money. I really do hope you enjoy all the money and all the benefits that come with being paid workers of some non-African entity, that group of African people, and use them as minions against each other. So continue. All my Nigerian brethren them, continue to make a fun of yourself. I'm a Jamaican brethren them. Let us continue to embarrass ourselves in our lyrics and then come and embarrass ourselves further by saying, regardless of my lyrics, we should come together. Regardless of my, you know what a song is? The whole universe started with a song. So whenever you go to make a song in the studio, know that you're making a universe. Know that you're creating the nucleus of a universe. All my brethren them who close to me know me not playing. I'm not there on a joke thing. So y'all need to stop linking me for features to man. Straight. You need to stop linking me for features and sending me some joke embarrassing lyrics to be a part of. Done with that. So now, that is a call to the music community. See? It is a call to the music community. And now, there's people, you know, Jamaican people. You are Rasta, all the way. You can deny it all you want. We are His Majesty. We are literally products of His Majesty's excellence as a statesman. See, we are beneficiaries of His Majesty's diplomacy and His ability to go around the world and hold the world leaders accountable. See, when you stop playing, that one thing. Now, we live in a colonial world here in the Caribbean, and we express it in our music, but more express it to the ones in reasoning. I hear people blame a police officer for cutting off a youth here. I blame her, and I hold her responsible. But I can't talk about it because that's a legal matter for which the entire constabulary force will have to pay. So I don't want to use Instagram as a thing to complicate the legal process. Isn't it? But we live in a country called Jamaica, and here we are with a big old Governor General representing a big old queen from an ex-sovereign country who is our sovereign, which means that the wife of our Prime Minister is not the First Lady because he's not the sovereign. He's not the sovereign. That's why I will never use my platform to come on here and blame a Prime Minister of a colonial machine, the driver of a colonial machine, or the trustee, someone leave to look after them colony for them. I'm not gonna blame him. The only reason why our Prime Minister is still a Jamaican is because, or a Jamaican national, is because he's a neo-colonial construct, and that is the platform, and that is the identity that is used in a neo-colonial concept. You use a national son of the soil, you educate him, you make him into yours, and you use him against him people. Yeah. So that's the only reason why we have a Jamaican as a Prime Minister. But them not serve nothing else. Them not serve nothing else because they are not sovereign. They can't stand in front of the world and hold anyone accountable until you claim your sovereignty justly, isn't it? And if it is even possible, peacefully, you know, if it is possible. But you have to claim your sovereignty, isn't it? You have to claim your sovereignty before you can talk about nothing about, you know what I mean? So, the Jamaica Labour Party was founded by the likes of Sir Alexander Bustamante, which is the devil. That is like us having Adolf Hitler as a national hero, and he's still recognized as a national hero in this country, and the party which he founded is the party that is in power right now in this country. You see me? And we hear someone talk about genealogy and whatever. Yo, we can go forward. We're not talking about race and them things there, you know. You see, we're not talking about that. We are talking about human consciousness. Because you see, a man race is one thing. A man consciousness is another story. Yeah? Because our prime ministers over the past, I've never had a white prime minister in this country. So my whole entire lifetime I grew up come see man who look like me. in them jacket and them tie, doing what Winston Churchill would have done. So we have this big men as one of our national heroes. It's like if Israel did have Sir Adolf Hitler as them national hero. That's what we have here in Jamaica. That's what we have on this island. We have men like Hugh Shearer, who helped the world to assassinate Walter Rodney for what he knew and for how he lived and for his beliefs. The consciousness of Rastafari. And when you go through airport, them deal with Rastaman as if you carry cocaine in your dreadlocks. See? As if you carry firearm in your dreadlocks. You know? So when we say what happened with the young sister, I spoke to the young sister yesterday, a very beautiful princess in Zinga. And I spoke to her parents, very beautiful ones, Nyabingi people. We now talk about one of the people from Scotiabank who have dreadlocks. And we now talk about one of the people from Carnival who have dreadlocks. Third generation. We are talking about a third generation Nyabingi princess who her dreadlocks, she was separated from her covenant, her physical covenant that she had from birth by a police officer who was in a police I don't know them call the place with them the pen. You see me? With other police officers present, with her superiors present. You can imagine? You can imagine? You can imagine? But we as Rastafari, we're not talking about them, you know. We are talking about we, you know. We need to come together now, you know. And women them who all the man them and women who benefit financially from Rasta music and Nyabingi, and Bobo Shanti, and the works of Prince Charles Emmanuel, the Honorable, the Prophet and the Priest and the King. See, we have made a wealth. We have been given creative freedom. We have been given a name and a culture. Some of us who was born Miguel, we now name Kalanji. You see me? All who born name Nathan, we have more name now from Rasta where we can get and baptize and have a name. All who the name Johnson. See? So I spoke to the Empress and I reasoned with her family, and they were all traumatized. And I have a daughter, my daughter is 2. And I couldn't help but to imagine. How, you know, like I send my daughter go out on the street to deal with that thing, only to know say she gets separated and severed from her covenant, which is with spiritual identity. You know, by a police officer in 2021. So that's because we live in a colonial system, neo-colonial system, where Jamaicans can't travel go now. We are the most peaceful people in the world. We never ever war against the next country. We never go to a next country and incite war against them yet. Every other country involved in that except we. All Jamaicans go do is try to make a better way for themselves and fight for them rights. All the Jamaican them where them say a criminal or foreign, when you check it, the man them a fight for them rights. So we need to forward together still. We need to forward together. This situation with this Empress is not the reason why I'm doing this live, to be honest. It's not the reason. It is not the sole reason of why I'm on here. I would say it more motivate. See? It's not the reason. Because remember in 1968 with you last and share, and imagine Bakawal before that. Imagine Coral Gardens. Imagine Pinnacle. See? So I not call no politician name. I not call them name out of my mouth because them not worthy. I not call no police officer name because them not worthy for when you play back this you hear my voice, I say them name. My voice, I say for them name, it's not necessary. Everybody know them name. And everybody knows that them government is illegal. And it is overdue that their government get abolished. And if Rasta people did put forward a government to this country, you wouldn't have no PMP in our jail. See? People would just know say. Rasta we are dealing with. Everybody in the world I know is Rasta them identify with more than them identify with Jamaican culture. You go do your own research. Don't depend on fight Walter Rodney, Edward Siaga and all of them displace enough Rasta. See? Displace them and kill them. Bustamante is the worst of all. And I hear nowadays Jamaica Labour Party people talking about reparation. Oh, come on. Do yourself a favor and abolish your little party. Do yourself a favor, you little PMP people, and abolish your little party. Do away with it. Sit together, all the young people in PMP and JLP, come together, rise up. And sit together and think about a way how you can move forward to benefit on yourself and on the children's children. Because PMP and JLP is the worst thing we're not going to ever be a part of. There is no repentance for them two entities. They are the worst. And it's the same goes for the Trinidad government them. It's the same. One of my honorable elder them, a mentor of mine, right? A mentor of mine. I hear people talk about repatriation. Repatriation is a must. Repatriation need the unification of Africa. It need Africa to be one. Cause I don't have no tribe. I don't know who my tribe in Africa is. And Africa is still a very tribal place. I've been there several times. In Ethiopia, they're dying from tribalism right now. If they continue in the same tribal way, there will not be an Ethiopia in the next 20 years. I say when we go Israel, I see Israel controlled by a next place. Israel is Africa. So until Africa, I see Egypt controlled by a next place. Nigeria controlled by some other all different kind of people. Me go West Africa and me see Senegal and Gambia as two different countries separate. That can't work. None of that can work. South Africa still a living in apartheid. That can't work. Me go and see that for myself. Me an idiot. You see me? Travel all over Africa and see that for myself. Uganda, all them country under colonial bondage. Me drive go up on the coast of Kenya and see truck loads of titanium just a leave go straight to the shoreline. The man them just a mine raw titanium, they them process it 2 times. Same thing happening in Jamaica. Same thing happening upon this little rock here where we live upon. So many people are talk about reparation and them want money and how much billion, trillion. I don't how you fit take money. How you fit bring down where we got through and try to put money to it. How much low can you go? How low do you think we are? How about you give us our minerals back? How about you come off our island and make we have our own government? Our island where we build, our island where we sing for, where we write music about, and we write poetry and artwork and give it a we have given ourselves an identity. Give us a chance now to live in our identities. See? So, we can continue for as long as we want. You know? And bring in the Honorable Priest Kailash. Honorable.
Oh my Lord, blessed.
Give thanks. Hey, this year is my honorable elder, beloved elder, and a hero to me. Someone is not a dictator to me, but is someone who dictates to us as youths through his example and his words and his livity. You see, so we are bringing the eye for talk on the topic of justice and healing, and we have an honorable elder, Ross Wayne. Love every time.
Majesty, blessed love, my Lord.
And make the elder speak first, man. Go ahead, my Lord.
Yeah, man. Make the elder speak first on the topic of justice and healing, you know.
Yeah, man. It's a joy. I love it. Even just to be on the platform and to speak our truth, really, you know. Yes, it's a moment in time, and I just blocked the sound to the Honorable Priest Kailash to say that there is on a mission and there I have to speak because there is chosen to do this work, you know. And so even as I will sharpen that piece on the justice and healing initiative, it's really a calling to account I own people for their complicity in the atrocities against Rastafari. There I have spoken very eloquently about how the structures of the colonial system are today and how it remains and how people are kept from their sovereign self. But even those people have a responsibility to those who, as they correctly say, is giving an identity, have given an identity to not just Jamaica but to a whole region, have given spiritual value, cultural value, have made Jamaica and the region cultural superpowers. Yes, where everyone seeks to emulate the vernacular and something about I in the region, including Rastafari. Yet, even to today, our people are insensitive to the plight of those who stand as leaders to be respected, of those who have said, I am God in flesh, righteous in my liberty, of those who have given I so much that the world has copied everything that I have given because they have recognized the righteousness in those gifts, the benefits of those gifts. Yet people are insensitive to the plight, and our governments have not quite accounted for the injustice. And this is why on what is called Emancipation Day, they could disrespect Rastafari again. Showing that they have no value for I, and that I is still not quite sovereign because they can come after I very person and people just turn the back of turn them back to it, turn away from it, you know. And therefore, as Aina is in this space, Aina is working on bringing to account and calling for justice to those who are victors over the system of oppression, but have remained injured by virtue of being victimized. Right? And in that call, Aina is calling together and setting a platform where Aina can distill information to the family in platforms like the Eyes One right here. Yes, sharing the information so the family can learn. And the culmination of that sharing is both social, legal, political, but more so spiritual, because we're going to have all the ammunition of the public sphere to bring information to the people. And after the people know, have them call on the rest of their people by a wave of support for this initiative so that justice can be delivered. And ultimately, as I correctly say, my lord, justice literally means sovereignty for Rastafari. And sovereign people have sovereign spaces that they occupy and govern as sovereign beings.
Yes, sir.
So ultimately, the culmination of I work leads into the July 4th through July 23rd, 21 day of Nyabinghi, celebrating 130 years of His Majesty's life. The leader who inspires I and I to goodness. The leader whose model I and I follow in righteousness. 13 decades after his birth, I and I is calling on our people first to reconcile with I and I, to heal with I and I from the injuries that they have perpetrated against Rastafari. And then we can look at those others, those other governments who have injured us, first offenders, if you will, and say, now stand up and be counted for justice or a judgment. Yeah, man. Yeah. So we're working on that, my lord, and working very closely with the I love it Honorable Priest Kailash, who can speak of the space, the planning and some of the initiatives.
Yeah, yes, sir.
That this is going to take place, because listen, you know, we have places in the world that are special, you know, and they have special moments. And I want to tell, if there are any St. Lucians on your platform right now, St. Lucia is a very special place.
Yes,
in the annals of history, is a very, very special place.
Yes, sir.
And its specialness is being called, it's being activated by Rastafari for 2022.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's not by accident that the Europeans call Dinkinish, the Ethiopian humanoid, the first woman that connects every single human being. It's not by accident that Dinkinish in the West is called Lucy. Same Lucia or Lucia, depending on the tongue you're using. So Lucy is here. We're going to be in Lucia.
Yes,
we're going to call for justice and healing for our people.
Yes,
and those who fail to deliver, and we're going to give them time, you know, because remember, in 8 years after 2022 will be the centenary of the crowning of Kadamawi Haile Selassie I and Meninasfa. So they may have our 8-year reprieve to deliver on the justice while healing is taking place. But if they fail, even in their very thought, in their heart and in their action, if they fail to deliver, Rastaman say, what a woe in a Babylon. So we pray, my Lord, that good people across the world will recognize that they too have a responsibility to lend a hand in every way they can, because all of us can be part of the salvation. And many of us are culpable in the injustice. So let us step up, yes, and do right. As the Rastaman said, do good. Nyabinghi. My Lord, Honorable Priest Kailash.
Honorable Priest Kailash.
Oh my Lord, give thanks, man.
Yes, sir, on the topic of justice and healing.
Well, true, give thanks for life and a mighty life. Give thanks for our worthy founder, you know, God and King Emmanuel Charles Edward, you know, the founder, the black dictator for human rights and justice, you know. Yeah. So give thanks definitely, because for years, you know, King Emmanuel was known as the man that they say the hard man for dead, you know, because even in the Coral Garden massacre, that was basically a repatriation.
Them have a song about him. We should talk about that in reggae music. Yeah, man, we have a song about His Majesty, about
Emmanuel.
Prince Charles Edwards, you know. Prince Emmanuel, you know. Yeah, hard man for dead, you know. That alright.
Man, so in that instance, you know, not the baton of the police. The police normally have some real hard baton, you know, like them things they don't break. You know, that breaking 3 pieces on the man's head. You know, so they have to play in a museum in Jamaica, you know. So at the end of the day, what the Rastafari family have actually gone through over the years, and being mindful that in many of our key institutions, like our universities, you know, our business places, public government, public offices, many of the heads of departments in many of these government offices are Rastafari people who are Rastafari, even man that goes to the Bingi house. And in our educational centers, our universities, our colleges, our schools, you have people of the Rastafari culture who actually are at the helm of many of these different institutions. And we're saying that as 1983 in Dominica, which is like a country next to St. Lucia, let's say about 40 minutes by plane, there was an act called the Dread Act that actually gave any citizen, the right, and that was passed in Parliament. It gave any citizen with the right to kill any Rastaman that they see. You could imagine that anywhere you see a Rastaman, right?
Yeah. They never have it. They never have it in law, but it was passed down to the public in Jamaica through Sir Bustamante and all of them man with them called Sir, to kill them on sight. They never put it into law, but imagine the so-called head of your country is gonna say that now to the general public and send that out as a message. That happens is an official thing, these things, and that's why I am happy the man them songs about it. You know?
Give thanks, man.
Because they can't go back and delete songs like so easy. They can't go back and delete songs so easy. They can burn up records and mash up computer and change up the internet, but it's not so easy to rub out that song. Not so easy. So we give thanks to the Honorable Prophet them who use them chanting as a way of do proper record keeping for the future generation, you know. That's why we record thing. Our thing is about recording. Otherwise, you're just a musician who channeling music for job. But getting into recording is the next thing. It's like you record humanity. Music is the way you record humanity through music and poetry and rap and rhythm. That's how humanity is recorded. It's not through hieroglyphs and anything can rub out. But heartbeat can rub out. So we give thanks to all the honorable sisters, all the honorable brethren, my personal brethren and sisters who I know. You know, I don't want to start calling me because a lot of us globally who put your life on with music and everything on the line to make sure that the record is there. You know, give thanks.
Yeah, my lord.
Yes,
sir. So I mean, definitely things like the Dread Act. You know, there were times when father, mother, and child were actually killed and left to decompose on the road. You know, so St. Lucia never had the law, but they still had, as you said, the prime ministers and the government actually say these things. People say shoot on sight. So over the years, you know, Rastafari have, let's say for the past half of a century, 50 years, we have been perfectly on track. We've been 50 years ahead in cannabis. I mean, they just decriminalized ganja in Jamaica. Come on. Rastafari have been saying that for over 70-something years. Right? So we're talking about carbon footprint, ecological living, and biodegradable plastics. Right? They just made plastics illegal in St. Lucia, and everything have to be like biodegradable. They just do that in 2020. And Rastafari have been saying that 70 years ago. So when you talk about carbon footprint and gasoline and diesel engine and metal and coming into clean energy, right? That is something that the Rastafari had been maintaining 70 years ago. And the system is just catching up. Right? So when we look at the whole aspect of even in the realms of what you call peace and love and justice and eating plant-based and and now you have alkaline, you have vegan, you have vegetarian, you have many different things. But there was a man that was killed, that was ridiculed, just because he wasn't eating fresh. Right? So we must historically and I mean everything is just there written to show you that the Rasta man, whatever the Rastafari sung about, as you say, it was recorded. Peter Tosh said, legalize it, I will advertise it. Long time ago. It's cure for cancer, cure for glaucoma, and all them different things. That was sung long time ago. This happened just 40 years ago at least 40 years ago. Right? So then imagine that. Let us just suppose that ganja as just one entity was indeed decriminalized or legalized 40 years ago in Jamaica. Do you think that the University of the West Indies wouldn't have been the #1 scientific institution for the research of anything medical cannabis?
In the world.
Come on. Yeah, man.
And they stopped that. They deliberately stopped that. They didn't want it to happen. And the Jamaican people are too naive to see these things. And it made the Rasta man feel pain, because the Rasta man carry the burden of being the one who can see. You get me? You see this government and this thing where it literally set up to stop our people from actually living in the now and in the present. Now we living right now in 1975 in Jamaica. Yeah. No. How we are living is how Bob Marley them used to live. Like the mentality and the consciousness. The things that we know is like similar to where them man didn't know, because they were so ahead. And if it wasn't for them, we probably wouldn't even know nothing. We would still be 1975 same way. You know what I mean? But right now in the future, with their here and now, because our fathers did the whole thing first. His Majesty has died, so tell them about His Majesty, Honorable.
Well, I mean, definitely, Honorable. This is what, when you say Rastafari, that's what, when you say you are Rastafari and I'm Rastafari, it's basically just calling I name after the name of His Imperial Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie. And when it is that you go through that persecution and tribulation, because remember, Italy came, Mussolini and a whole nation of people. Just imagine that you want to go and fight a little country. Look at how united people could be for a cause, and that's how united we need to be for this cause, for justice and healing, or judgment and heaping. Because the whole nation of Italy, every single woman and child and man, to the extent that every married man and woman took out their golden ring and threw it into a furnace to burn, to raise finances to go and fight a defenseless nation, a nation that have no fighter jets, no machine guns, no rockets, none of these things. So consciously, the entire consciousness of that whole piece of land, imagine the Pope Pius the 11 praying and blessing the bombs and saying that we're gonna destroy Ethiopia, and and the people walking and marching and going and throwing all the gold. So if they put in the ring that represents their marriage in the fire, you can imagine what else they put already. Right? So the whole nation of Italy was responsible for the invasion on Ethiopia. And they came in and sprayed mustard gas and stole the relics and killed like hundreds of Ethiopian Orthodox priests and raped the women and did plenty of folly. 5 years, 5th of May to 5th of May, 5 years afterwards, after the emperor suffered 5 bleeding wounds, he still came back into Ethiopia. And what was the message he delivered to the Ethiopians, to the Italians? He tell them they are free to stay and enjoy our culture and share the space with us, showing that the Almighty, only God can do that, After someone do these things, they're so in the depths of your heart.
That's what you call grace.
Yeah, my
Grace
lord.
and mercy.
Yeah, man. So, His Imperial Majesty is the Prince of Peace. That's why Rastafari always came with peace and love. Peace and love. Peace and love.
We have all right for coming forward in a war. We have all the right. The same right as the Israeli, We have the same right as the Israeli. We have the same right as all the people in the world who claim say that they never get no justice. So we're gonna bomb our next place. We have all the right, man. So when we forward in peace, they must always remember that divine grace and mercy and love, unconditional love.
Man. Yeah, well, I know that because remember, the emperor shoot down plane and thing, like shoot down plane and put his feet on the bomb, and so imagine if you have like landmines. When people going through landmines, it's robots and dogs and the emperor came, and when I was reading the historian's thing on it, and while everybody was so careful and how the emperor just casually just walked and put his feet on the bomb. Remember that picture? Right when the emperor have imagine a warhead fall from a plane, did not explode. What people are doing when they see them things, people must be afraid because it can explode anytime. So how casually the god of war walked towards that and put his feet on it and took a photograph. Right? So it is not that as Rastafari that we are averse to war, but our essence is peace and love.
Yeah.
To the extent that if it is that anybody in the public do you anything and then you say, and then if brother Jamal, Honorable Prophet Jamal come on there and say, well, me not like that, and start to curse up and say something. Say, but man, you are Rasta man and you cursing. You Rasta man, you're not supposed to do that. So Rastafari has become the standard for righteousness. So a Catholic could do anything, a Pentecostal can do anything, and an Adventist can do anything. But as a Rasta man, you can't curse. You can't drink rum. You can't smoke cigarette. You're not supposed to get upset.
Yeah.
So the Rastafari have in society now, we have become like the standard bearer for righteousness. And I give thanks. So the Justice and Healing Initiative is to basically, deal with the traumas. And this is not something that we just started because the little princess hair was cut, That came out of the Rising of the Gods retreat we had in St. Lucia. So this is just like telling the people, you see what we're talking about. When we tell you all that the Rastafari locks was cut with cutlass and rusty old saws, you all think it's lie we're speaking. So the Creator, actually allowed that manifestation whereby some evil person in this day and age could see a little princess, 19 years, 3 generations of Rastafari. Somebody that born and their locks never cut before. Right? Somebody their mother is Rasta. Somebody probably their grandfather is Rasta. Right? And then you actually taking that off that person. So we're talking about elders who actually went to the hospital with beard that they actually kept for 50 years. I'm talking about 50-year-long beard. They have been growing that beard for 50 years, and they go for something, and for some reason, the nurse decide that the shave off the beard that the Rastafari have kept for 50 years. And that elder Rasta man would cry every single day because he never sees baseball. He's not accustomed to that. So every time he goes into the mirror, it's trauma. So that alone led to the death of this elder. So we are talking about mothers who actually bought their... I was speaking to this elder, and the elder said she brought her 2-year-old child to the hospital because the child has been vomiting for 3 days. And a 2-year-old child, remember, you know, man, I have children, you know, and I have a 2-year-old son now, you know, and I know what it feels like to hug my son and feel his warmth, you know. Right? So I know what it's like when my son says, Dada, and, you know, say something new, and probably, you know, say, I want to pee, or I want to free up, you know, and then you full joy in that moment of that life, and you are celebrating that life. And a sick child is nothing that any parent can actually bear. When a child is suffering, when your child is in pain, the amount of pain that a parent goes through is, I mean, come on, man. I'm a physician, and I tell you that you have to be strong, to hold your grounds, and maintain a particular path. So when the elder saw 3 days of persistent vomiting, she brought the child to the doctor. That's in 1990 in St. Lucia. And the doctor says, the child is all right. She said, but no, I have had 11 children. I know when a child is good, when a child is not good. Check the child. He tell her then, so what, you don't believe in Jah provide? Right? And to the extent that he never even placed a stethoscope on the child. He never examined the child. He sent back the woman to her home. The following night, the child fell sick again. But by that time, when the child got to the hospital, the child had passed to the ancestors. So, you could imagine that the trauma that was laid onto Rastafari people, you know, for just having a dreadlocks, you know, for just saying Africa, for just saying, well, they don't want to ride on van, they rather just walk, you know, and trad, go on a trad.
Yeah.
Right? Or they rather get a horse or get a donkey. You know? So, for that, which is what the world is embracing now, you know. The world is embracing that. If you have 5 acres of land, get a horse. I mean, if you come to my property and you see I have a horse and carriage, and you could sit down and you could probably ride 40 minutes after, and you have to start an engine, you'll feel good. So you praise my Lord, give thanks, you know. So the world is embracing that. What a Rastafari was killed for and ridiculed for before. And the worst thing is that there have never been no public inquiry to say, well, in Jamaica, you're going to inquire about Bakawal, where they came and just burned down the whole camp. You understand? And talk about the Bon Jimmy raid in St. Lucia. Have an inquiry. Then have atonement. Because every single home have a Rastafari, you know.
Every family.
Every family.
Every family have a Rasta in it. Every single family have Rastafari. In this country, every family.
So when you hurt a Rasta man, you're talking about your uncle, your brother, you know, your cousin, you know, your someone that is close to you. So at the end of the day, my Lord, you see, for us to progress as a nation of people, especially in the Caribbean region, you know, and as a Rastafari, you know, as a man who actually went through the system and never bowed. You know, I went to university, I'm a Bobo Shandin, I never write an exam on Sabbath, you know. You know, I never do that. I just say, man, it's my Sabbath and thing I'm writing. I'm not supposed to use pen. You know, so I always know myself as a God man because I follow the example of the Emperor Haile Selassie I. You know, because that war has been won for us long time by His Imperial Majesty. So at the end of the day, when it comes tonight, the Justice and Healing Initiative is going to be a comprehensive initiative that actually ranges from South America all the way up to the North America, right? That is within what they call the Caribbean region. Because first and foremost, first love is self-love. So we are going to focus on ourselves as a region of Rastafari. Yes. And then identify the countries where serious atrocities have been perpetuated. Go in, videograph it, bring the truth to the people. So we're going to need hashtags like I didn't know. Because every young person you tell that to, they say, but Chris, I didn't know that. You know, I never knew that Rastaman could not go to Tortola or Rasta could not go to Dominica. You couldn't go to, in 1980, you couldn't go to Tortola. They go and perform Tortola. When you get to the airport, they send you back. Who? Chronix? Who's Chronix? No. You understand? There's people that's how it was. So at the end of the day, all that glory is not a sad story, you know. It's the glory of Rastafari. It is the things that we have actually gone through. We have been victorious in it. We have been victors, but look at myself. I'm good, you know, my Lord. Right?
Honorable Priest, met the people see the place. Yo, I was here in St. Lucia some weeks ago for the Rising of the God retreat with the Honorable Priest Kailash, the Honorable Priest Westmore, the Honorable Ross Wayne, Honorable Jelani. And we did have a brother them from the Nation of Islam, Honorable Riza Islam, and Hot Hands and all of them youth, and we have a bridging them from Canada, or bridging them from Jamaica. This is the all of who I watch take note, you know. All of who I watch take note, you know. This is a spring where it come from out of the honorable priest meditation bring forth them spring there and as you can see the pyramid around there. You talk about Rastafari architecture, you know, which is a living manifestation of the art, you know, and of righteousness. So this is the Mount Kailash rejuvenate. Tell the people them what them just said. Honorable.
Well, I mean, definitely, let me just show you the kitchen because Rastafari Livity is the ancient Livity, you know, so it's the ancient and modern. So the same way you have your conventional, you know, stove and thing, the same way you have our, you know, yaba pot and wood fire and, you know, that is the gully roots and wood fire oven and, you understand, so steamers. You know, so when you come in, you could, you know, get your steaming and things. So the Mount Kailash Rejuvenation Center was created out of the principles of Rastafari Livity. You know, I went to medical school and I really couldn't see anything that they taught me that could have helped my people. You know, so I am what you call a dropout. So when I had to go and do my my licensing exams and they say, well, please boy, I take 16 vaccines and so on and so on and so on. So I say, but wait. No, everything I learned at medical school, there was nothing that I learned to say, well, that can help someone, you know, and I was very intrigued by the science because I do believe as Rastafari, I do understand nanotechnology, you know, and I do believe that we are in the technological space whereby we can utilize nanotechnology as a science to create nanobots, right? Nanobots, it could be biological nanobots or even synthetic nanobots that could probably that can travel through your bloodstream. You know, go to a specific organ and then remove a particular tumor, cut it out, or go to it and then just drop in some THC or some CDB or something specifically. Carry it into a little pouch, whatever little quantity and go through and control and say, yeah, you see, going for that, and then drop tips. Okay, right, you understand? So these things there are possibilities that we now as a people could have had already accomplished, knowing that the Rastafari community was given that opportunity to education because we never get an opportunity to education. They never allow us to go into schools. I was the only Rastafari in my whole university and around plenty of white people and all different type of people, but I was the only man for Crown, you know, and I had to stand up. Sometimes I was the only man passing an exam, especially biochemistry. Yeah, man, I love biochemistry and things, and you know, plenty of dead bodies we cut and, you know, and plenty of brains and legs and arms and, you know, imagine you're a father and then you have to go and do an autopsy and you have to cut probably a child died at 6 months and you have to cut open and then you have to look at how people deal with the cadaver. You understand? So as a Rastafari, I suffered that to a point where then I said, well, I'm not going to any more autopsies again. As a priest, you're not supposed to see no dead man. You know, so I had stopped. And I still passed my exam. I'll give you that story, that glory some other time, man. But the Mount Kailash Rejuvenation Center was created out of knowing that there is nothing really established for people who want to actually come into a place to heal, because where most people die is at the hospital. Right? So the hospital is, you have no windows. It smells like disinfectant, and you lie on a bed and somebody else lie next to you and they die, and you have no fresh air. You don't hear the birds. You don't see the bees. You don't see any butterflies. Mount Kailash Rejuvenation Center was placed in the mountains, because to heal you need fresh air, you need fresh water, you need peace and quiet, you need to hear like the songs of the night, you need to hear the songs of the wind. You understand that? So you need to be in a room where you could just open up your door and then you don't need to close it in the night. You feel free. You need to eat food that's grown right from the area. So when you have to make a salad, and they could just walk down and take the things and make a salad that is actually in tune with your system, because you are sharing that same space. So Mount Kailash Rejuvenation Center, for now, as we have a big structure at the top coming up, for now, we deal with that aspect of that herbal healing. In the future, left unmolested for 50 years, we'll be able to grow back legs and arms and them type of things there. Just give the Rastafari 50 years unmolested. Right?
Yeah,
we will be able to grow back arms and legs. And make teeth grow back and make the blind see.
Neural pathways and them things there.
Yeah, man. So
give people access to the new parts of them brain where them couldn't use before.
People believe that Rasta man is just like a backward thinking, and they don't understand what the emperor stands for is education and upliftment, and use education for the upliftment of mankind. So you could imagine that
Marcus Garvey stands for, which is the same scientific progress. Scientific progress. We are a people. We can't be a people without your own scientific progress. You know what I mean? Like and Rasta man been a push for that. Like we say, we live in the perfect setting for this, to advance science in a way that they can't advance it in New York. They can't advance it in Los Angeles like this. You get me? It's just a different place. Rastaman been calling for that. And now me hear someone from the PMP, I said, them want to start conversations about Jamaica becoming one of them places where people come for go hospital. You get me? Yeah, we still have them talk. They are making now and Jamaican people even salute it and saying yes, it's a good thing. But at the same time, I still feel like that's in the past, like that's 1975 when you go to a country to go to a hospital. It's like what we need is for people to heal and to benefit from what we have as spiritual and scientific knowledge that come down to us through our fathers and people being very serious and vigilant while we even have some of them information and still, and even some of the ones them as like the ones who got through the medical thing and got through the academic thing to get to a point where you can affirm your credibility and make anyone know say anyone, and there's a lot of ones like that we have within the thing, which is scientists, and we have to big up all our brethren who are scientists and economists, go and prove themselves academically, just so that anyone, because over the years we find that our fathers were denied them legitimacy in on the topic of healing and therapy and all of these things and medicine. Them get denied them legitimacy, and them call them all different type of things, which and all different type of thing, and them call them all different type of thing, man.
They still call I like them same thing, you know. They still.
You know what I mean? So it's like we give thanks to the eye them, man. Honorable the eye them can't say that about the eye. Because unless them know see the thing for real. But when you see there's a very advanced scientific ecosystem where it's just proof. It's just proof of how you can have an ecosystem that sustains health and rejuvenation and people feel it. I tell you, I experienced that. So you know what I mean? I experienced that, and a whole heap of ones experienced that. Like, you know what I mean? Credible ones, you know?
True, man. Remember,
Yes,
you know, remember that it's a work of Christ. See, like when the emperor, 1974. You understand? So, it no matter, our credibility is not for these people to tell you whether you are credible or not, because at the end of the day, what happens is that they still crucify Christ, right? And nobody jump for a bullet for Martin Luther King. Right now they are a big holiday. Malcolm X, none of the people that jump for a bullet or jump and take a bullet. So when the people are indeed followers, man, they're not like people are there with you, they just follow you. So you are at the front, so you get the bullet. So at the end of the day, our credibility, in St. Lucia, for about a whole term, I was the personal attendant to the Prime Minister. My restaurant fed him 3 times a day. And there are testimonies and all type of things when it comes to them levels of them type of things that do. So if it is that we have to look for accreditation because them things that still don't matter. Because they just cut a sister here in Jamaica, 19 years. Some Rasta youth was just hanged in a cell in St. Lucia some time ago. Police just hung up the youth. The youth called Shakadan. You understand, a couple of years ago. Inquiry and they and the man go in the cell and they just hang the man in the cell. So at the end of the day, even if I as an individual probably can go through an airport and get a little bit, Priscilla, how are you doing? And thing. But when next Rasta man comes, it's trouble. Because as when you travel, you see how if you go to the Bahamas, they have 2 lines, They have 2 lines. So time I go to the Bahamas and I see all the Caucasians going through a line and they're not even opening their bag. So I say, well, I'm not a Bahamian. I'm gonna go in that line. So I took my suitcase and I go in that same line. So when I reach the immigration man stop me and tell me, but I tell him, veteran, you never stop none of them people there, so that's the non-stopping line. I'm not Bahamian, so what is the difference between me and them?
Yeah.
You have to make me go still, because at the end of the day, right? That is the level of respect when we, as universally, as Rastafari, I'm not talking about any other set of people, just as Rastafari, checking our own business. Universally, as Rastafari, when we are a sovereign nation, as I say, right? A sovereign being, that we could be recognized, that they know, well, if they touch one over, it could be in wherever, the Antarctic or wherever, and something happen, and then a strand of your locks fall off, and think somebody have to be held accountable. So phone calls made already, apologies written, and people get punished already, and then councils being called into order, and these type of things. That's the levels of reverence that the Rastafari demands, right? And it's not something that we are begging for. It is something that we deserve. Now, if it is that our brothers and sisters and our uncles and our aunties refuse to give it, just give it up and say, yes, that's true, man. I remember they did these things, right? Then we'd be forced to actually go through the legal route, whereby legally we are going to hold them accountable for attempted genocide of a people, right? Then after that, now still, because remember, right, that God had in Pharaoh's heart. So if they had still had, then the 21 days of Nyabingi, because in St. Lucia up in Mount Kailash, we're going to have 21 lights of ceaseless Nyabingi, which is Rastafari anthem, the music of Rastafari, 8 ohm drum song. I'm putting down the guitar and the piano, you know, but we're still putting down the guitar and the piano. You know, we're talking about the songs of warfare. You know, the conch shell to blow the hour of prayer, right? And then the drums, the 8 ohm song. And you know what Rastafari did? I'll give you a little science before we close up. When Rastafari call in a bingi, that means that, let's say, you have 3 instruments. You have the kete, which is the fast one. It's a fast drum. So that is what they call a meditation. Then you have the 1-2, the funde, which is basically the heart rhythm, which is 1-2, lub dub, which is the heart rhythm. Then you have the bass drum, which is the fonda, which is the breathing. Doom, 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 doom. So you have these 3 instruments that come together to create that kind of a sound, which is like a physical structure. And then you have the congregation. All of us have hearts, and since it is going in the same 8 ohm rhythm, all of our hearts going to get to that same beat with the drum in synchronicity. Everyone's heart in that spot going to be beating at the same rate, at the same pace, within the same 1-2. Everyone's breath is going to be the same breath, mandatory, because all of us going to be singing the same song. Right? So if you're singing trust and obey, right? Everyone saying trust and obey, for there is no other way to be happy in niggas but to trust and obey. Now that means that we are breathing in together, we are breathing out together, because we are singing to the same air, to the same tune, and the drum going to the same rhythm, and we're saying the same thing. Jah Rastafari, and we're calling for justice and healing 21 days, non-stop. Right, so this is the ultimate weapon. Right, the man say, one to never be the other.
What chance are we giving? Are we gonna give them any chance before we make it get to that? Cause
chance?
Yeah.
I mean chance, like Lotto.
Our opportunity.
Yeah, but at the end of the number, you know, never being the other is life for the righteous and death to the wicked, you know. So
yes, right.
The drum song is going to shift the genetic material, the DNA, because remember it's vibration, and your genetic material is in the shape of what they call chromosomes, and then they say, well, it is a bihelix, 2 helix, 5 prime, 3 prime, right? Infinite, right? That this is a double helix structure, but we know that number 1, that we don't operate like that. It's either a trinity, right? Either a 5, either a 7, either a 9, and if anything higher than that, you have to go to a 13. Check what I'm telling you. So the DNA material, because of the vibrations of the drum song, is going to shift and remove the mutated genetic material for the vibrations and bring forth the man and the woman into the forward God self and Goddess self. So when you say lightning walk the earth like a living man, the lightning walk, you know? And you say, you know, life and peace and blessings forevermore. Life and peace and blessings forevermore. So the righteous, right, definitely will get rewarded, you know, and it's simple, man, because people come and get healed. You know, the music is a healing, right?
Yes,
but
for sure.
At the end of the day, you know, there will be a judgment. But people do have ample opportunity, my Lord, because the man say, you know, that they have had over so many years, and in Jamaica of all places, Mecca, the Mecca of Rastafari, 2021, they're still cutting off the locks of a princess. You understand? So how much more opportunity do they need? So it's going to be 21 nights, and what we are going to be offering full accommodation for people. You know, it's not like you have to come and you have to pay. One Kailash Rejuvenation Center is going to be the place that's going to be the center whereby people come in, and then we set up ourselves, and then we chant Naya Bingi, you know, and we come in peace and love and healing. Because if you're sick and whatever disease you have to, not like you just come in. And when I say justice and healing, that means that none of our elders who are not well, you know, have a problem and think, you know, they could come in and sit in and get served to, you know, get some nice food, get, you know, some nice herbs, some nice green juice. You understand, my lord?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man, so it's a blessing, man. So people have plenty chance.
Yeah, man, we give thanks, man. Yeah, we give thanks every time, man. We give thanks. Why you bless the people in the mighty name?
In the chat.
Yes, sir.
Well, give thanks. I mean, definitely, my lord. I give thanks for all your people who are following you, you know. And I give thanks for all those people who send in the hearts of love. And I would urge them not to just follow, but to walk with. You know, and as I say, you know, it's not about likes. You know, not about how many likes you have, you know. So we could really shift the whole vibes, you know, and be good people, because the followers have an opportunity to greatness, you know. They have an opportunity, because no set of followers really stand up for the person that they following in history. To the extent that they stand up with them, like something happened to that person and all the followers. See, we have 1,000 and so people. Let's say they hear, well, probably police come and they was passing and they rob on the honorable there. So next 2 days you see 1,000 people and in Jamaica and say, or wherever there are 1,000 people come and they walk with. So the followers have an opportunity in creation to actually give back to the people that give to them. Because people like I and I, truthfully, like I Priest Kailash, my whole youth has been to my work. Like I don't really know, like as if kind of youth where a man have a time to go and sit down by the road and chat and them type of things. I see me, I get gray in about a year and I just check and I see, but I gray. I get so many grays. Last year I get gray in a fire. In a year. Because we get up 2 o'clock every morning and, you know, and to the works. You know, so people like I and I, you know, and the I, you know, and I just like to, you know, to just send love to the I still as a youthful energy in creation, you know, and send prayers and blessings to the I, you know, and just that the Father could have opened your eyes so you could have see the angels that stand. You're talking about the terrible, you know, fire marshals that stand along the eye all the time to protect and keep the eye safe, you know, from the forces of iniquity and evil, you know, because it's not by our own strength that we still here, you know, but by the strength and the grace of the Creator. You understand? So it is not for a man to raise a finger and touch any of the chosen of the Almighty, you know. Not for a man to do that. It's only when the Almighty will. Right? So when the work fulfilled and you say it is fulfilled and thing, that is when that the Creator, the God that we praise, you know, ever living I, Emperor Haile Selassie, I, Marcus Mosiah Garvey, no King Emmanuel, Charles Edward, Empress Menen, Idi Amin Dada, you know, the gods we praise, you know, the ancients, the people we praise and we honor and we worship, you know, the ancestors. So when you say the spirit of the ancestors, it's not no abracadabra and kazam and thing, you know. The ancestors are there, you know, and they are there at our beckon and our call. And I pray that the spirit of the ancestors, you know, be with the eye as the eyes are youth who have kept, you know, a clean message, you know, and I applaud that. And, you know, sometimes as I say it, I feel it. When you feel it through your heartstrings, your eyes almost get watery because it's the truth, because your heart feels it, and then you could feel like the love for the work and the love for the people that the eye could persist and continue, you know, and don't bow, you know, because I myself as a youth man and thing, I could have been the top surgeon in the world. You know, I choose to trod the path less trod by, which is the Rastafari path, you know. And I choose to maintain it into a principle. You know, and when I tell people certain things they don't believe and they find it's hard, But everything that I want in my life to attain, I want to attain it as a Rastafari. I want to attain it with a clean hand and a pure heart to know, well, I never see cocaine in my life. You know, I never smell crack. You know, I never go and steal nobody thing. Never go and do nothing illegal, go and sign some paper and launder some money or do something. But my labors and my riches and my wealth is attained through righteous work and righteous labor and for the upliftment of mankind. The ultimate objective of MKRC, Mon Kailash Rejuvenation Center, my lord, is to offer free healthcare, you know, right? Is that people can come to this space without paying, you know. You understand? So our ultimate objective is to know that whether someone live or die is not determined by the amount of money that they have, but by the fact that there are spaces where people could come in. So is there any elder, any Rastafari elder, right, first and foremost, who's not well and I can afford and they can reach in St. Lucia, and sometimes you could even help them to reach and think? To be my honor and privilege to offer my services and the services of my team. There's not Chris Kailash alone, you know, there's a team of people that work together to make it happen.
Tell them how much people, man.
Well, we have about 40-something employees, you know, and you know, but we have a core of about 7 people core, but there are about 40-something employees, and you know, and we do operate in that capacity. But at the end of the day, you know, you welcome my elders and thing, you know, and if we could assist the iron thing, it will be my pleasure and my privilege, right, to be able to feed an elder and take care of an elder and to see a man coming for probably a catheter because they have prostate problem and put him on a regime and see after 7 or 14 days he could take off his catheter and he could hold his penis and pee. That's my ultimate joy, you know. So I give thanks again for all the elders before me who actually went through and suffer tribulation. I go for my own thing already, you understand, but not like what they went through. You understand? They actually built a foundation for me. So I, as a Rastafari, you know, elder and youth, because I'm 43 years old, you know, I could tell you my age and I'm too high really. I'm a 43-year-old man. I was born 1977, the 9th of October. You know, I am not too high. I mean, you have to search that. What you want to know? Our police record? I was arrested a couple of times for cannabis, you know, and for some other little, you know, and thing, but I don't have no record. I have a clean sheet, you know, so at the end of the day, you know, my heart is a heart of love, and I send peace to the eye, my Lord, and prosperity within thy walls, you know, and give thanks that you allow me into your living space. And every time you do a live, you allow people into your living space, you know.
Yeah, but yo, right now, wow, play the people them some music.
Love, man.
Some Naya Bingi.
Give thanks for the love, my Lord. Cut and clear. Love to the eye and the whole black family. Love, give thanks.
Yeah, man. Yo, I'm turn on about this. Yo. Yo. Big respect to all of the people I'm seeing. Yeah, man. Love every time, you see me? Yeah, man. Mad thing, yeah. Mad thing. Big up Dirty Book, man. See me? Big up all of the people them who did I watch. See? Yo, Popcorn, my God. Rate in a youth. I tell you that. You see me? Radiant Son, bless up. It's the Roots percussionist. Love to the massive, you see me, Jatty June and my brethren from long time. Yo, Roots, I don't know, love you in a youth, you're top youth here. Remember me tell you that. Top talent. You see me, I want the whole of the eye them forward together and take on the problems of the Jamaican people, you see me? Yeah, we have to do that, take it up in our own hand. You see me? Take on the little parish them, take on the little place them and try help the youth them. Getting at some universities all over the world. You see me? We have to try all of it. We have to have a little youth them where we help. to get into the universities them around the world and can bring back some value in the country and some scientific innovation, because that we need. Even our artists them right now, the eye popcorn and the whole of the eye them is billionaire. It's just true we're lacking certain scientific mind and some technological mind. We don't have the Caribbean tech, we don't have the Silicon Valley. So because we would have an app them, we would have our own streaming, we would have collect money from our phone every day. The whole of we run ourselves will be billionaire. May I tell you that? In our own little right. You see me? So make we get the youth them in some university and get the elder them some care and take care of them so nobody can look down upon we and treat we like Rasta. And cause all of the artists them are Rasta. Let me tell you that. The whole of the man them are Rasta, not because the man them are perfect, but the man them not depend on a joke thing there. Even some of the man them in America, I tell you, I'm a brethren them. The whole of the man them love His Majesty and love the Honorable Louis Farrakhan. And we love them man that our elder. We rate how the man talk, and we rate how the man act, and we rate how the people them. You see me? So yeah. And now that's who we is. So if you depend the thing and I listen to music and you love the music, then you have to love the man them and the woman them. I love the sister them. You see how the sister them take over the thing? You think a joke thing? Is I show the whole of on side. Say, and then a joke thing I go on. And them have the voice. And them have the real voice of truth. But when them talk, it makes sense because them are not rapists. And because them are not rapists and them are not murderer, them have a cleaner conscience than some of we as man. You see me? Them have a cleaner conscience. So when them talk, people feel it. When the sister in them, in the year when the sister in them sing, people feel it in them heart, because them know say, oh, I true the sister talk. You see me? So when we see all the sister them, I get big and I get big and I get big and I get big. We should just support that and stand back and watch that. You see me? And stand side of them. Stand side of them and watch that. You see me? You want to stop asking bad man about vaccine. To hold on. You see me? Got to check the honorable priest. The man just come on and show you say the man go through medical thing. When you know where Rasta stand for already. Them thing there and that we are talking about with sovereignty. You see me? And we right to say what we want to take and what we don't want to take. That we want. And I talk about that. Me and a scientist. You see me? Me and a scientist. Me's a scientist. You see me? When you don't know a Rasta man stand for already, we not deal with certain liberty brethren. And that are because we're sovereign why we can say that. You see me? We say what we want. You see me? Because we have the scientists them. Look how much scientists we have as African. So what? I must listen to our next scientist more than my own scientist. No, I'm never gonna do that. Never ever gonna do that. Not until my scientist is proven wrong. Then you know say alright. Well, I'm here with the German scientists, I said that. You see me? And yeah, but our scientists them been right, man. Them been right about marijuana. Them been right about acupuncture. Them been right about massage therapy. Them been right about the overall liberty. Them been right. You see me? And they are peaceful on top of it. On top of being right, they are peaceful. So it shows say, why should I not follow someone like that? You see me? Why should I listen to a next man who is known for war and genocide and over my people? Never. It's never gonna happen. That's never gonna happen. You see me? You're never gonna see that. You see me? So remember, say, I love every time, see? And I just the chanting of the big kid, you know. Yeah, big respect. Big respect to the ones you see. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Every time. Big up Dirty Book, man. We are close out. You know. Forward, you are forward up there. See, because now whole heap of house work. I be a house work, I do a daytime, you know, people. So when you don't see no album and anything, they just know say house work is a must. Which part you have to make sure say first place where you live is in your son. So that is the major house work that me have to do at daytime. See? I mean put music industry over that. Never. You see me? Teeth have to brush properly, have to beard. You see me? You have to make sure say you're up. You see me? Take care of your house where you live in and make sure say you're happy say you're in that house yeah. Forever. See? And then now you have your next house now where you can share with someone else. You see me? And you have to do the same thing for that house then. You see me? And then now we have the big musical family of the world. That is the next house. So we have to make sure say that house step up. So I don't really think of the thing as I and with fans and all of them. I more say the thing as a house. Like how the Rastaman talk about mansion. You know? It's just really, you know, we are one mansion and one house. I see it up and down with some people.
Chronix son, where them get you from? Ready for them, magnificent this and I put on 1791, man and two sons 1865 in a the bush on sharp plus and a rifle, bogle dance. Can't copy my style to all me one. Never use my talent for this. My contemporaries yet will free up or change them by any means necessary. Show the ghetto youth them all we are visionary. Yo, tell them again me, do me tell them I'm ready. Total destruction of Babylon I got bury. And fit them ending up to be preliminary. So like the chalice calling not the feeling there. Like the love you got on the first side.
All right. Yep, I agree with what they're saying. Things need to be fixed, and that's that. Wrong is wrong, right is right. Like, comment, subscribe, share, show that you care. I am Daddy Reddss. I'm the reggae ambassador, and I will always cause a musical massacre. Dread out for now. This is Talking News.